everybody is in. Good morning again. My name is Jennifer Stanford. I am with Phi Theta Kappa headquarters staff. I work in our student engagement department. My official title is Associate VP of Program Implementation. And one of those great programs that I help to implement with a team of others is our college project. So that's going to be the focus of this workshop. We are so happy that you are devoting some time on a Saturday to learn more about the college project and what it can mean for your chapter and how it can really help your chapter grow and hopefully sustain some great college administration support. So I'm going to share a PowerPoint. And while I'm doing that, I just want to give a shout out to your Phi Theta Kappa regional coordinator, Miriam Moody, for setting this up. We really appreciate the opportunity to present. The summer is a great time, usually for many chapters to, spend a little bit of extra time on their planning. I'm going to try to get out of the presenter mode. Give me 1 second. Okay. Presenter view. Okay. Let me know. Hopefully everyone is seeing the full PowerPoint now. So thumbs up. Okay, perfect. So, we also know that it can be a challenge because the summer is also a break for many people and they may not be on campus. So some of you may be, you haven't even begun to think about your college project and others may be in the middle of it. And so we hope that this is going to be a workshop that meets you where you are, that kind of backs up and gives you that good firm foundation and what the college project rubrics or the planning rubrics that are available to you to plan a successful college project. I'm not going to do this by myself, though. As I said, I'm Jennifer Stanford, but I've got two great award-winning chapter presenters with me. And Jesse, if you'll wave to the group. Jesse, you probably, those of you who've been in Phi Theta Kappa for a while, recognize Jesse. She's a former regional officer at your region, and she's also a former officer at Citrus College who won a college project award and this past year. And then Autumn McMahon is an advisor and a member, right? You're an alum, I believe, Autumn. Yes. Okay. From Kenyatta College. And Autumn, do you want to introduce those that are going to be participating from your chapter?
Yeah, thank you, Jennifer. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on this Saturday. I am joined by former regional officer Anthony, who is joining us from Japan. We're very happy to have him. We have former officer Noah Liu, and then we have Mark joining us as well.
Awesome. Well, as I was telling our co-presenters here, it's always super important for you to hear how other chapters have successfully completed a project. I could speak all day about the college project, but knowing that firsthand perspective, and they're going to share not only their process, but really give you an inside look into the things that worked well for them as they went through the college project, and also some pitfalls that they were able to avoid, or if they weren't able to avoid them, some lessons learned that they can pass on to you. So hopefully it'll make it a smoother process for you. So we're really excited to have both Kenyatta College, who also won a college project award this past year. So this is just a brief review of what the next couple hours are going to look like. We do want to, we're going to do a really quick icebreaker just to get everybody communicating on the chat. Don't worry, you're not going to have to share deep, dark feelings. It's just a very quick, fun icebreaker. And then we'll dive into an overview of college project. We know that there can be brand new people in Phi Theta Kappa all the time. We always have new members and new advisors joining. And so we'll give that overview, and then we're going to really break it down by the college project rubrics. And I hope rubrics is not scaring anyone. It really is a blueprint for or a checklist of what makes a successful college project. And there are 4 primary categories, and we'll go through our presentation really focused on each of those. But then we're also going to have a couple of breakout sessions. And so we will do that so that you can get to know others that are in your region and certainly are a good resource or a good network for you. And we'll try, depending on time, we may be able to have a spokesperson kind of give us some feedback about what their group talked about. So keep that in mind. We want to go through this as quickly as we can so that we can make sure that we're answering your questions. It's not about, our prepared presentation necessarily. And getting through all of the slides, it's about making sure that you feel comfortable moving forward from this workshop. So if we have time, we'll share a sample project timeline based on starting now and through the rest of the year, because the final step of a college project is actually submitting it for a Hallmark Award entry. And so we'll give you a good preview of that. So I would be remiss if I didn't just give a quick shout out. We are certainly very proud of Nevada, California. You guys are a 5-star region. And if that doesn't mean anything to you, let me just say that it's the highest level of engagement for a Phi Theta Kappa region. It means that you have excellent regional meetings, your chapters are engaged in our 5-star plan, which we'll talk about momentarily, and that you have awesome regional officers as well. And so we recognize Nevada, California, not only on the regional level, but also chapters, members, alumni. All of them were recognized during our PTK Catalyst, which is our annual convention. This past April, it was in Columbus, Ohio. Next year, we're going to be in Orlando on April 4th through the 6th. So if you want to check out the Hallmark Award recipients, this is the website, hallmarkawards.ptk.org. But I also just wanted to, give a shout out. I know you guys had international officer candidates. You see Lashana there campaigning as a semifinalist. Jerry was also a candidate for international office. He's a current regional officer, so shout out to them. And then Christine Lowe showing up with the Alumni Hall of Honor. But lots of great things happening in your region, and I hope you're really proud. If you didn't know all of that, you should be very proud of your region. So, okay, so time for a quick icebreaker. This is very simple. It's a this or that question, and you can put your responses in the Zoom chat. And for the first one, this is going to be really simple because we'd love for you to list whether you are a chapter advisor or a member. And as I said, I know Autumn is both a chapter advisor and member or alum, but whatever your role is here today, your primary role. So if you would list that, if you want to list your college name out beside it, that's even better because that'll kind of give us a roll call. So I'll give you a moment to do that, whether you're advisor or member and your college. Okay. Great, Natalie. Natalie, if you'll put your college in, that would be awesome. Member, we got a lot of members joining us. That's awesome. Advisors too. Okay, great. So good to see all the different colleges represented. And Nevada, awesome. We've got both College of Southern Nevada. We've got Great Basin. Yay. All right. A good mix. Oh, and Gampy, the co-advisor for Autumn from Kenyatta College. Thanks for being here, Gampy. I know, I think Paul Rochelle is maybe out. But he's also an advisor at Kenyatta College.
Hi, everybody.
Thanks, Gampy. And we're going to be, sharing all the great things that Kenyatta did. So I just want to give you a shout out as well. All right. Man, we've got so many great participants. And thank you guys for putting that all in. Oh, Lynette. Hey, Lynette. Good to see you. Great Basin. Okay. All right. Well, while you guys are finishing that up, I think everybody looks like we've got most everyone putting that in. We've got a big group with us today. So thank you again for being here. Okay. All right. And then the next thing, really simple, this or that, whether you prefer a beach or a pool. If you had your choice. I know sometimes it's both, but if you had to pick, and you can put that in the chat. Oh yeah, all of our Californians going to the beach. I live in North Texas, but I would also, even though I'm pale, I do enjoy beach time. Can't do it here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but I can definitely. Oh, we have a pool. Jesse's got the pool. All right, pool is on the board. All right, good deal. Okay, next one, board games. This is the last icebreaker question for now. So board games or video games? If you had to choose, which of those would you choose? Yeah, this is kind of an even split, although there's a lot more board games than I anticipated. So board games is definitely my choice. All right. Okay, great job, guys. I hope that was just a little bit of an icebreaker to see some common themes that you guys share with each other, and maybe during the breakout sessions, which we're going to do randomly. So you may not necessarily be with other chapter members from your own chapter. We want you to meet and talk with others throughout the region. So before we get to that, we want to do that college project overview. And one of the main things, if we zoom out and think about Phi Theta Kappa engagement, there is a method to the madness. And so there are a lot of opportunities, a lot of benefits in Phi Theta Kappa. And we know that when you first are really getting your feet wet, so to speak, as a Phi Theta Kappa leader, and by leader, I mean member, officer, advisor. So you don't have to have a title to be a leader. There is a blueprint that we call our 5-star chapter plan, and we are currently making some changes to the 5-star plan, but we're keeping all of the main components. We've streamlined it, and you're going to be seeing it. We'll be revealing it on our website very soon. But if you've been a 5-star chapter, you're going to still do a college project and an honors in action project. Those are the two primary projects that a chapter does during the calendar year. Now, we do operate on a calendar year because there's a couple of reasons, but the main one is that our convention, where we recognize all of our award winners and elect new international officers, which you see there on the screen. Those are our 2023, 2024 international officers. But all of that is done in the spring. So April, as I mentioned before, April 4th through the 6th will be our next convention. And also, and this is particularly true on the West Coast, when you look at the entire country, Phi Theta Kappa has chapters all over the US and abroad. We do have chapters in places like Bermuda and Germany, Canada, etc. But there are some differences when you look at academic calendars. So there's very little, we tend to think August to May for some of us, and others that have a quarter system that can be very different, with your start times. And so we decided a long time ago that we would just treat it as a calendar year. And we know that that can be challenging based on when you elect chapter officers. But we also know that that's not dramatically different than what you would encounter in the workplace, where maybe two groups of people, team members coming in and out during a project. And so we do feel like that there's a lot of transferable skills that happen even with having two chapter officer teams in one calendar year. And I will say that some chapters have organized their projects that they do the college project in the spring, and then the next officer team that comes in will work on honors in action. We do have a lot of chapters that do both projects simultaneously. So if you're thinking, well, we have missed the boat on spring, so we're already behind, you're not behind. Trust us, most chapters will do these, in this time frame, the rest of the calendar year. But the best thing about the 5-star plan is if you are completing the activities that are listed for each star, then you're guaranteed recognition for that particular star. And so we add them all up, and to be 5-star, that's the highest level of PTK engagement. But every star is important. And so we do, we want to recognize you for what you've done, and then hopefully set you up to be competitive in our highly competitive Hallmark Awards program. And so you may have heard me mention earlier, there is a college project Hallmark Award. And we really do see that as a critical piece. It's the final thing that your chapter should do. Even if things didn't go like you thought they were going to go, there's still a lot of value in writing up that entry and reflecting on what was accomplished, and maybe helping set the stage for the next group to finish, or to learn from mistakes that your chapter had. There's nothing wrong with that, and we'll talk more about that process too. So at the heart of a college project is primarily the chapter's relationship with the college administration. We know that active chapters, almost without exception, have a strong administrative support from the college. And that will look very different on many campuses. And some of you may be thinking, yes, we absolutely have a great relationship with our college president or CEO, how, they may have different titles. And some of you may be thinking, we sometimes get an administrator to come to our induction, or, you may have a great meeting space on campus. But know that at the very least, your college holds the charter to your Phi Theta Kappa chapter. And so you exist at your college at the pleasure of your administration. And they also appoint the chapter advisors. So if you have, if your chapter is doing any kind of activity, including induction ceremonies, welcoming new members throughout the year, that the administration has a key role with that. So even if you're not fully aware of all the things that are happening behind the scenes, I can assure you that is, a good firm foundation the administration has provided. Now, if you are in that situation, we want you to know that this college project is a great way for your chapter to not go in asking for support or money or travel funds, whatever it may be. But it's a time to turn the table and say, how can our chapter help the college meet your goals? And so that's what we're going to be talking about. It can be on anything. It's as long as it's related to the college's mission and their priorities. It literally can be on anything. It is not a chapter project. Kind of that idea of, we're doing a service to the college. It really is meant to be a joint project. Guys, I did get a message that my internet is unstable, so hopefully nothing will, so if you see me put something in the chat if it goes out. Okay, so it is, as I was saying, a joint project with the college. We don't want this to be something that the chapter, decides on their own and implements on their own. And that's really good news because, again, it's about that relationship building. So you're working alongside college personnel, and that's going to be different based on what the focus area is for your college project. But if you are a chapter that doesn't have a lot of what we call active members, those that are showing up at chapter meetings, et cetera, then this is really good news for you because you don't have to have a large chapter to do this. You can work with others on campus, even other students that are not members yet. Hopefully they'll become members. But it really is something that's a great leadership role. It's an awareness of your PTK chapters role on campus as well. So we do have help for you beyond just things like today's workshop. There is the activity guide for chapter leaders, and there's a whole section about the college project. We really tried to focus on not just the steps of a college project, but how to complete those steps. So you'll see things like email templates, for communicating with college leaders, setting project goals, some tips about that, and determining collaborators. So all of that is on our website. We are updating it right now. but it's still very useful, very applicable. And then if you want to see what past chapters have done beyond Citrus and Kenyatta today, we do have what we call our Change Makers Journal, and those are featuring award-winning college projects from the last 2 years. So you can go and read. There's a lot of different projects that they do, but it's a great way to just see, okay, well, what does it take to win a college project award? And then this is just a highlight of the 20 chapters in Nevada, California that participated in a college project entry. So some chapters will do a college project, but they won't necessarily submit it. So there may have been more than 20 in your region, but these are the ones that submitted for a Hallmark Award. And as you can tell, there's a lot of different types. You see food insecurity, and you see things like mentorship program. We had a chapter, in fact, Great Basin College worked with foster children in the state. We're going to talk, you'll see about Kenyatta and Citrus College, so I won't share theirs, but there's a lot of different types. I know Miriam's chapter at Southwestern worked on helping the college get back to an in-person graduation, especially, after the pandemic. So lots of different areas. The one common theme is that it's based on what the college administration wants you to do. So that's not necessarily going to be a PTK program. It's going to be what the college's priorities are. So I'm going to just run through these steps really fast because this is what's going to be at the heart of what the chapters co-presenting with me are going to be talking about. But we wanted you to see kind of that big picture before they give a summary of what their projects are. And so, the first thing that you do is you need to find out what your college's priorities are. They're not hard to find. 90% of the time it's going to be on your college's website. And the reason why we say look this up and brainstorm ideas is because you may be asked to share ideas and you want the college administrator to know that you're taking this seriously. They may not always have an idea for you, but, and you want this to be a conversation. And so being prepared goes a long way in showing that you are taking it seriously and you really do care what their goals are. You're meeting with the college president or other administrators. You want to collaboratively determine the focus of that project. Again, it's a conversation. It may happen not just in the first meeting. They may direct you to other departments at the college to work with, and that's really where you'll develop more specifically what the project goals will be. But you never want to lose touch with the administration as you work through this process. It is important, not that you inundate them with emails, but that you keep them in the loop and then you present, what happened? What was the final outcome of this project? You're doing something on behalf of the college president. And so you want it to be seen as, something that was followed through on, not something that was a great conversation, but nothing happened. Again, remember, this is all about building and strengthening that relationship between the chapter and the college. So if you don't follow through, that's probably going to damage the relationship or the image that the college has about the Phi Theta Kappa chapter. And we'll talk about that more about, what if they ask you to do something that's way more than your chapter can really accomplish. We'll talk about how to handle that. And then, as I mentioned before, the submitting of the Hallmark entry, but you'll want to have notes that you've taken throughout the process so that you'll have those great details to share in the college project entry. And this is going to help you. I know it seems like, I'll definitely remember all of this. But a lot will happen during the process. And you're not just reporting, the great things that happen. You really want to show the detail of how the college or how the chapter planned for this event and planned with collaborators and how you chose collaborators and how you grew your skills in order to do a good job with the college project. So all of those details are really, really critical. Okay, so we're going to do a quick frequently asked question here. And this is something that we do get asked a lot. What if your college president is not available to meet with your chapter? You know, some of you may be on multi-campus colleges in a district, you know, chancellors, et cetera, and it really may not be possible for you to meet with the campus CEO. So it is perfectly fine if you meet with another administrator. We love for you to meet with someone who is in that executive role at the college campus, but it does not have to be the president. And so keep that in mind, that you do want to share that when you're writing up your entry. That will be a natural question. You know, if you say we met with the vice president of student services, for example, you know, the college project entry judge is going to think, okay, well, why didn't they meet with the college CEO? So make sure that you have that, you know, that you're going to explain that that just was not possible. You don't have to give a lengthy explanation, but you do want to make sure that you address it. All right, so this is how the rubrics, as I mentioned, this is the 4 big categories right here that we're going to talk you through the lens of both Citrus College and Kenyatta College. And so the presentation is about the writing of it. And if we have time, we'll share a few tips about organizing for your Hallmark Award entry. But the primary focus is planning and implementing a college project. So that's where we're going to spend the most part of our time. So right now, in Autumn, you can decide. I don't know if all of you are going to present here, but this is just a chance for you to give that kind of overview. And I know you guys are going to kind of reference both your last year project and this year's project. So I'll let you take it away.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. Yeah, Anthony, if you're available to jump on with us right now, I know the students would love to hear from you about our 2022 video recordings, and Anthony was highlighted in these a lot, which was really wonderful, as were a lot of our officers. Just give Anthony a second. He's getting ready to join us.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yes, would you like to introduce our college project when we were recording the videos? I know you were a part of those, as was our former co-president, Giovanna.
Oh, yes. So the project that we were doing was to specifically create mural art in our campus, because something that we realized was that we didn't have any mural in our campus actually for several years, and we wanted to instill who we are in our community. And as a result, we were able to be there and be a part of this process, which was already happening via Student Senate and other forms. And we wanted to be a part of this transition for it. And as you can see there, 2023 is painting a college mural. And then we also have Beta Status News Chapter Kenyatta College in 2022, which was humanizing the college website, which was to echo a little bit more about the resources Kenyatta College had to offer to multiple students, depending on if they needed ESL help, Dream Club, or even how to enroll and register, and so much more. So yeah.
Thank you, Anthony.
Okay, Autumn, was that?
Yeah, I think you just wanted us to introduce the project,
yes,
right? And then Jesse can go ahead.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you. All right, Jesse, you want to talk about Citrus College's project?
Sure. So hello everyone. I'm Jessie Sand. I was the president of our chapter during this year, as well as the regional president. And so and then I've now retired from Phi Theta Kappa, but I gotta say this is probably one of our greatest projects that we've accomplished. This was our first time being fully back in person. So we were kind of online completely for one college project, and then we were kind of hybrid for our second college project. But this is our first time actually having everything available to us in person. So we called it the Beta Nu Eta Cares Resource Fair. And at first our administration goes, "What is Beta Nu Eta?" And I was like, well, we wanted to make sure that everybody knew who we were. We are PTK, but we're Beta Nu Eta. And that's why we chose to put our name into our title. We were really lucky that our administration has heard about PTK before in the previous institution they worked at. And although being new, our college president actually won a Paragon President Award from PTK. And he was just super supportive throughout the 2 years that he's been here. And he already had a prompt, an idea, what he wants us to accomplish. And he gave us the prompt of developing a stronger sense of community through student engagement and basic needs. And we took that and we reviewed our mission statement about quality educational experiences and student services, as well as accessibility and affordable learning environment. And we kind of put it together and we tied into these, okay, well, what do you want to address? So we gave him a huge list of resources that our college offers. And he says, well, basic needs is what I want to focus on. So let's figure out what exactly is basic needs. And we contacted and collaborated with the mental health center, cosmetology, estheticians department, nursing department, basic needs department, of course, the Citrus College Foundation, extended opportunities programs and services, as well as Foothill Unity Center, which is a service that offers shelters. And so in the pictures, you can see some of the snacks that were donated. We had around 500 to 600 snacks that were donated, as well as 20 to 40 haircut like estheticians, as well as hand massagers. You can see I was getting my hair cut and my hand massaged at the same time. I was an active participant. And Foothill Unity just sharing information about some of the resources. We actually not included in, if you could go on to the next slide. So over here, this is a group picture. To the right is the pictures of all the nurses that were giving health checkups, and it was kind of part of their training to kind of figure out vitals and everything. That was just a really quick one-stop shop of like, do you have high blood pressure, things like that. In the middle, you can kind of see our estheticians and our cosmetologists that were doing the hair and the hands. And then on the left side is the people who are giving out resources for basic needs. Food pantry was in the building we were at, so we just directed students to where they can find food pantry, as well as the shelter. And I put a quote of what our president said about everything. He said, "I want you to know that I'm both proud and thankful for the leadership and service you have provided in support of the Beta Nu Eta PTK Cares Fair. Students' lives will be touched and their student experience will be improved due to the resources and information you shared." And I think like he gave us a prompt and he came and gave us an idea. He was like, I went to this fair where I got a lot of information. I was like, well, why don't we combine your idea of basic needs and fair and then create a basic needs fair? And this is kind of how it came about. And it was very, very successful. And I'm very thankful for the opportunity to share this with you all today.
All right, great. You both did a great job with kind of giving that overview. And so we're going to dive a little bit deeper into these. So I want to set up, each of these rubric categories. And up here, I've got preparation and 20 points. And just so you know, that's how much of the total that preparation is. But it's actually not on a 100-point scale. It's on an 85-point scale. So that's the grand total that you could get, or the most that you could get. So each of these statements, there are 5 statements in each of these 4 primary rubric areas. So each one is worth 4 points. So maximum 4 for each of these. And so when we say that, this is what the judge uses, but if you really look at it, this is a checklist for you to make sure that you're fulfilling these steps, but that you're not doing them and just it's assumed that you would meet, it's assumed that you would review the college mission. You want to be as descriptive as possible with that when you're writing up your entry. And this is the bare minimum, but to do this well is when you show that excellent evidence that your chapter did each of these things, is when you get the maximum of 4 points for each item. So this is one of the pictures when Kenyatta was creating their mural. And so I'll let y'all talk about, kind of that planning and preparation stage and kind of dive into that a little bit deeper.
Thank you, Jennifer.
So,
So yeah, I would
yeah.
just like to also frame the purpose of talking about both of our projects in this presentation. Granted, the mural project is still ongoing. We just wanted to highlight a little bit of what we learned going from our 2022 project to our 2023 project. So that's why we wanted to bring in the conversation about our mural, what we wanted to build upon. But yeah, for preparation for our 2022 project, so we'll kind of jump in between. I can highlight this, and then I know our former officer Noah Liu was also really involved with the mural, so I'll let him speak to that. But for preparation for our 2022 project, apologies for all the jumping back and forth, but it was a lot of the students have highlighted this, scheduling meetings with administrators, having to go back and forth, meeting times don't work, meeting with your college president can be challenging. They have very busy schedules, so it's important to be flexible. We have some other photos here of all the emails back and forth, and it's just important to stay on top of that, encourage as many members as you can to go to these meetings, your advisors as well. And yeah, really be sure to address your college's mission and speak with the president about how important this is. And with both of these projects, actually, we were really grateful to be able to work with college administrators, to work with other college departments. And as you'll see in a video we'll be sharing later, we even roped in other PTK alumni. So we were really excited about that. And then Noah, if you're available, would you be able to talk about the preparation for our mural project?
Yeah, so the photo shown right now was actually from the mural workshop last fall. So over there, I met with the mural committee, and this was actually before this was set as an idea for the college project. But then I was very excited when we scheduled a meeting with our college president, and then she was like, "Oh, the mural, like when she brought up the mural, I was like, oh wow, like I participated in the brainstorming and the ideas of, as you can see, like that's like the outline template for the mural." And yeah, so as usual, after we had we were set on, okay, let's do the mural. And then so we actually introduced the idea to our chapter, and then we brainstormed like how could we contribute to the mural project. And part of it was we created was it a website or something like that that can kind of that will help spread the word. And we not only met up with the college president, we also met up with the vice president of student services and student life and leadership manager, who are all part of the mural committee. And then we also have communicated back and forth, not just with the chapter, but we also communicated with the chapter and the mural committee. That was actually our main focus, just because they knew what was best with the just the project and how like it can connect with the mission of what they want for the mural in the campus. And then we participated in the painting of the mural, which I think for PTK members, I think they spent about 50 to 60 hours in the painting. And a lot of it, I think, especially like for me, it was like my first time actually painting. And I learned a lot about like color selection and following reference images and doing all sort of things that just, how to say it, like no need to be afraid to make mistakes with the painting process. And then I think we have an article that's being written right now. And then, yeah, and I think the main important point about college project is like really keeping up with communicating with your administrators, which I felt very proud that we actually did that. Like we followed up all the time. So this was one of those things that really needs that sort of, how to say it, like college project strengthens the relationship for a reason. It's like through the following up, when you constantly following up, you're showing your administrators that you're really interested in how to say it, in following the college mission accurately. So this is just one thing that that I hope you all actually hear and learn about through this workshop. Yeah.
Thank you for saying that, Noah, because it's something, and Jesse, I'll give you a chance to talk too. But sometimes the chapter will, like you'll come up with a project idea and you'll take it and run with it. And there's not always that, following back up and making sure that you're
Yeah.
communicating. But there's also that idea that it can get a little bit lost in the write-up of how it directly supports the college's mission through a current priority, because there's so many things,
Yeah.
especially that two-year colleges do. And so why was it this project at this point in time? And you always want to go back to that as well. So Jesse, I know your college president was really good at giving y'all the inspiration to run with this project idea of the resource fair, but anything in particular you want to add about preparation?
Yeah, so I actually brought up like 5 tips and tricks that I felt were good takeaways when it comes to the preparation phase.
Okay.
So, the first one was to have a college project team that meets with administration. It should be kind of like a smaller team. We tried to narrow it down to advisors, president, vice president, college project leader. And this just kind of made it a little bit easier to not have a lot of like discussion that was a little bit overwhelming, but rather like, okay, we have this project that's coming up. What is your idea? And our administration says, well, I would really like to support basic needs. Cool. We bring that back to our chapter. What does basic needs mean to students? We come up with a list. We bring it back to the administrator. This is what our students think basic needs mean. What do you want to focus on? He chooses what we want to focus on. And we were kind of like the relay between the students and the administration. But that was what really drove our team to making decisions that were effective as well as concise and in a way that was purposeful. So we know, okay, what is the next step? Because we had that smaller team to kind of not limit discussion, but to make it in a way that was more focused. My next tip would be to be flexible. Administrators are super busy. So when you want to meet with your administration, make sure to just be aware that you might have to be a little bit giving when it comes to when can I book an appointment with them. And that could be a little bit difficult, but if you're able to work with them, work with their secretaries, whoever's managing their schedule, it's a lot easier to book that appointment. I kind of just wanted to mention, not as one of my 5 tips and tricks, but just something I thought about when it comes to your mission, college mission and current priorities, review that. When it comes to the list of what is your college value right now, review that. If you can, you might even want to like quote it in your write-up, because it like states like, okay, this is what our college's focus is right now. This is how our project directly relates to it. It just makes it a little bit easier to describe. My third point would be to bounce and build on ideas. Like, you are talking to your students and your administration. What can you guys come up with together? And I think that is just something that's really helpful when it comes to building and growing those ideas of, okay, we have a basic need resource fair. What does that mean? Do we want to have booths? What type of booths? Who do we want at these booths? And then the students and the administrators communicating about that is able to create some really great ideas that one person cannot create alone. And my last 2 points is to have a clear agreement. Having a clear agreement is really important. Both you and your administration need to agree on it together. If you guys don't know what you agreed on, then the rest of the project just kind of gets a little messy of like, wait, what did we actually want to do with this project? And then the last point would just be to create a game plan. Like, once you've decided on it, you immediately have to start going, okay, who do we need to contact? What do we need to do? How do we need to put it together? And create that game plan, that skeleton, or whatever idea you have to bring it from point A to point B. That game plan is going to be really important when it comes to actually turning your idea into an actual project. And so those are my 5 points.
That was great, Josie, and that really helps set up. We are ready to do the first breakout room activity. And as Jesse was saying, and also Noah, it really does start with the college's mission statement and what their priorities are. And so we want to give you a chance, again, you're not necessarily going to be with your own chapter members in this, so you can look at different college websites, but we're going to have about 10 minutes in a breakout room. And we want you to just kind of go through this process of number one, finding those goals, the priorities. It may be under a strategic plan. Gampy, I know you were saying that yours is, they call it the educational master plan on your campus. And so it's going to go by maybe different titles. But look, have a opportunity to really look at a couple of different college websites, and you'll typically see where they'll list some strategies that they're employing on these goals. And that's really where your chapters can brainstorm about what types of support a PTK chapter could provide. Almost every goal that a college has some room for student input, for, boots on the ground type support. So it's not that obviously you're not necessarily going to be creating a class, although some have done that, believe it or not. They've worked with the curriculum committee to do that. But just, it's an important lesson to just see where your Phi Theta Kappa chapter and, thinking of scholar student leaders on campus, where you could support your college's goals. And we also want you to think of this as Phi Theta Kappa. We really don't consider ourselves just another student club on campus. You really want to, through this project, make sure the college sees you as a partner, that you are lifting up the college profile, their reputation, supporting their goals in a way that makes you a true partner. And so that's going to be, Miriam, I think we'll set it for 10 minutes. And I believe you were going to have about 5 to 6, maybe, however it is best. You decide that. 5 to 6 people in each one. So there's, time for people to talk and get to know one another too. So are you ready? Okay.
All ready.
All right. Okay. So she's going to hit the button and everybody's going to go off, and then we'll come back in 10 minutes. So see you guys later. Okay, welcome back, everyone. We hope it was a productive 10 minutes. Our main goal was, of course, for you to just, get to know some others that are joining us today, make those contacts, and do a little searching on your smartphone, probably. So we would like to hear I think we have time for just 1 or 2. And so I'll ask a regional officer. I think, Jerry, I think you had 2 regional officers in your group, but Jerry, do you want to just share a little bit about what y'all talked about? And I'm going to put an example up while you're talking.
Yes. So I was in the same group as Carissa, another regional officer as well. And I really like the idea. I think her idea should be the spotlight for this one. So Carissa, would you like to hop in?
Sure. Carissa?
Hi. So I was telling Jerry, our college statement is sorry, let me get it pulled up. It's transforming lives through education. So I work at the college, and I told my group that I talk to admin and advisors, and they tell me, we're a college of, community colleges, unconventional students. And for me, I just think about my age group, but they were talking about this age group of parents. And, these parents, they feel guilty because they work, and then they have school, and then they don't really get this time to do stuff with their kids. So I was saying an inclusion, because that's one of our themes at our college, could be to make these times where parents could bring their kids and do activities together. And it could be, learning and interactive. And then that way, everyone has a chance to, be there.
Yeah. That's great. And that is so true, because typically there is a a disproportionate number of working adults and just that kind of older, non-traditional college student age at our two-year colleges. And so that can be a really, big goal for a college to have, is to, make them feel as included and to really meet the needs that they have with childcare, et cetera. So that's a great way to, think of a fellow student helping other students, and how that can, be as I was saying earlier, kind of boots on the ground to give them people. Sometimes it's just resources that a college doesn't have to sustain those kinds of activities. So I pulled up, and this is Great Basin College, and I noticed that they have a strategic plan that they've published, and then if you kind of drill down, they've got goals. And this is what I was talking about earlier, where you can, really drill down for some, and it may be that your chapter advisor can help connect you with those documents if they're not easily accessible on the website that show more detail. But again, this is it's about success and access, and it talks about some of the strategies. And so I think that it's easy to go in here and look at, how a Phi Theta Kappa chapter can support a college's goal and success and access. Those are the primary, that's the primary mission of a two-year college for sure. And so that's, I think you can see that a Phi Theta Kappa chapter, even if it's just one or two students, we want you to know that you can work with other student organizations on campus. You don't have to do all of this legwork by yourself. So you're not only working with the college, different departments, depending on what your focus is, but you can use this as an opportunity to build those bridges with other student groups on campus. And that certainly helps with, I'll just say, student retention and completion. So those, you're helping yourself, but you're helping others through that process as well. Okay, so this is a frequently asked question that we get. And this is something that some of you may not, have this, but it may come up for others, that if your college administration asks you to complete the same project year after year. And this can be challenging if your chapter is thinking, gosh, we really want to be competitive for a college project, and maybe the project itself is not really stretching. Maybe you're helping with graduation, but it's not in a really significant role in terms of planning. It's more just volunteering on the day of graduation. This is really an area that your advisor can help you with. I think I may have put that up. Yes. So I won't I will take that off because I know you'll be reading all of those things. But one of the things that I want to highlight here is your chapter advisor can really be the one that is setting the stage for a good discussion with the college administration, whomever that is that you're meeting with. And, it might be something that they can broach instead of the students just coming in and kind of like brashly saying, hey, we don't want to do that again. Let's think of something different. But helping them understand, maybe the administration just assumes that, that's kind of the project and it's supposed to be the same year after year. So that is a conversation that can happen, between faculty or staff member in your advisor's role with the college administration. But it's also true that they may ask you to do something that is really big and maybe is not as easily accomplished as you feel like you have the resources for. And so don't consider this, the emphasis is on the conversation. And so you do want to, it's okay to go back and forth a little bit with the administration. I know, Jesse, you were talking about that, how you were kind of the liaison between the students and the administration. But you can settle on something that is going to be doable. And remember, it's very important to have those specific goals. What outcomes are we looking for here? But then also, that's why I brought up that you can work with other student organizations. So, use that as an opportunity to stretch yourself a little bit. I mean, you don't want to do too much where you're going to set yourself up that you won't be able to complete it, and that will have maybe negative consequences. But consider all of your resources and not just the chapter members that are able to participate. Okay. All right. So great conversations happening in the chat. We love that. And we will keep it going. I did want to just share here that, you know, for our advisors that are participating, again, thank you. Saturday, we really appreciate it. I know that Phi Theta Kappa chapters can take up a lot of your free time. And so please know how much we appreciate all you do for your students and to help them get engaged and make the most of their PTK membership. But we also want you to know that, you know, the students on the call, you may think, okay, the advisor is there. You know, what exactly do they do? Are they writing the college project entry? Are they, you know, are they the ones that really should be meeting with the college president, et cetera? First, they're not writing the entry. They can certainly help contribute ideas and they can even help edit, but they are not the writers of the college project entry. That is for the students. You're the ones that are going to be writing it up. But they can connect you to people. Maybe they have great proofreading skills and they can certainly connect you with others that can help through that process. We want this to be a learning experience. And so, you know, you're going to learn if you're working with others that can kind of guide you through that process. But again, Phi Theta Kappa, yes, we are a student organization, but we're primarily a student development organization. So the advisor is there to really help, you know, kind of keep you in the right lanes, in the parameters, and be there to give advice. But they're not actually doing the project. This is for the students to do. And so they have a role, but it's up to the chapter members to fulfill it and, you know, work, of course, as I said, with other students and the college departments to do that. All right, so we've got leadership development and collaboration that we want to talk about next before you go back into a breakout group. And so I'm going to let Jesse, I guess we'll start with your college this time. And do you want to talk more specifically about how you guys divided up leadership roles and particularly how you got that training or that information that you needed to do a good job? You've talked a little bit about it, but just if you'll expand.
Of course. So, of course, I'm talking a little bit more from a president's perspective when it comes to organizing a team. And so again, I have my 5 tips. My first one would be to have your goals set out and your team set out. So when you are dividing up your strategic thinking, in this case, you want to figure out what exactly do you want to accomplish within that time frame and go, okay, what do I need to do? Do you need to email faculty or departments? Do you need to get clearances? Do you need to get authorization? Do you need to have a facilities team for setup? Things like that. You have to figure out what exactly your goals are to start organizing teams for each one. One of the things that you can do with that is you can create opportunities for leadership. So now that you have these teams, you're going to need people to like drive those forward. You have your goals, you have your teams, you have your strategy set up, but now you need people to make that turn into something that is going to be successful. And one of the things, again, as a president is, and advisors have told me, is you want to make sure that everybody feels like, you know, they can do it. Empower them, make sure that they feel like confident enough that they can step into that leadership role. And sometimes you can actually be the one to prompt them and says, hey, I noticed you have this really great skill in communication. Do you want to think about maybe being the one to start emailing out our departments to see if they would like to collaborate? You know, letting people know that we would really appreciate them to be the leaders that fulfill this goal of our project. When it comes to skills development, sometimes you need extra skills when it comes to the projects, things that you might want to improve on, gain expertise on, to make sure that you are doing well enough to doing well enough to make this project successful in the category you're trying to target. So last year when we did our Veteran Success Center, we went to talk to the Veteran Center and be like, what exactly do veterans need? They like a peaceful space. Okay, how do we do that? This year, when it comes to basic needs, we went to talk to our student life supervisor and asked her, okay, well, what type of resources does basic needs already provide? Does our food pantry get a lot of traffic? Is there a lot of people that know about these things? Just kind of going out there to kind of get more information. I do want to say that I kind of wish that we had done a little bit more specific skills training when it comes to like speaking and everything, but that's something that I think we build on every year of like, what type of areas do we think we can improve on? And so I would definitely say purposely look for skills that you can utilize in your project and build those skills within your team, whether that means talking to an expert or maybe training when it comes to professional writing, professional speaking, things like that, that can help you make your project as smooth as possible. And my fourth tip would be to delegate based on skill set. You notice some people are just better at some things than others, and that's okay. If someone's really artsy, maybe they can be in charge of flyers. If someone's really good at doing data analysis, maybe you want to let them go through your quantitative and qualitative data. You don't want to put the really artsy person looking at data and the very data oriented person doing flyers. Okay, so make sure you kind of like have an understanding of what do people like and ask them, talk to them. How do you delegate in a way that makes sure that you're able to go through all these areas? And that's kind of our way of going through strengths and weaknesses, is asking them, okay, what do you feel you're really good at, and what do you think you can do to help our project? And my fifth tip would be to celebrate. So each leader, whenever you accomplish something, I think it's really good to like have a meeting to go, oh my gosh, look what we've done. We've accomplished this thing. We've finished a goal in our strategy plan. We've already gained the skill. We've talked to this expert. And every time just coming back to the chapter meeting and just doing that little recap at the beginning of each college project meeting was just really helpful to go like, hey, this week we've accomplished this, this, and this. Great job, everyone. Let's keep up the great work. We were doing great things. We're making a big impact, and reminding your team of that impact just kind of promotes that leadership of like, we're actually doing something with our time and energy. And I think that's really important. And those are my 5 tips for leadership.
That's awesome. I love the celebrating the mini milestones too. So I'm going to stop sharing because I know, Autumn, you're going to share your video, or the college's video from last year's college project.
Yes, thank you, Jennifer. And just to echo what Jessie said as well, something we really focused on were our students' strengths. So in this video, you'll actually get to see, you'll see Anthony, who unfortunately had to drop off the call, but he was excited to meet all of you and see all of you again. Anthony's featured in the video, and you'll see our students in different aspects. And it was really wonderful to see it all come together. These videos were recorded in English and Spanish. I'm going to show one of our Spanish versions because opening this version of the video is my former co-president with Phi Theta Kappa, and she's one of our co-advisors as well when she's able to join us. So just give me one moment to pull that up. And these videos were shared on the college website. They were highlighted, but we also have a Kenyatta College YouTube channel, and that's where these videos were shared. Okay, I just want to make sure that you can hear my sound as well.
Mi nombre es Catherine.
Can everybody hear?
Voy a compartir con ustedes los pasos para inscribirse en clases y tener éxito. Primero, envíe una solicitud gratuita a Cañada College a través de CCC Apply. Solicite ayuda financiera. Nuestra oficina de ayuda financiera puede ayudarle con el proceso de solicitud. Asista a la orientación estudiantil, que les proporcionará a todos los estudiantes un resumen general de los programas y servicios que ofrece Cañada. Asista a una sesión de consejería. El equipo de consejeros académicos les ayudará a elegir las clases adecuadas para alcanzar su meta educativa. Regístrese para clases y pague las tarifas de matriculación. Revise las clases disponibles en WebSchedule. Luego regístrese para sus clases en WebSmart. Cañada College se compromete en apoyar su éxito. Desde aquí puede ir a cualquier parte.
I always love that. At the end of the videos, it's from here you can go anywhere, which is very true at Kenyatta. As you can see, our students became part-time actors, which was really lovely. So it was just really a great opportunity for our students with this project. What was really awesome is we had students from so many different backgrounds, whether they were involved with the Dream Center, Spanish was their first language. They were able to participate in these videos. And another aspect of this project was helping recruit other students on campus as well that had different experiences, and really helping to humanize the college website. And we shared these in the community opportunity as well, just to say that Kenyatta is here to support everyone. And from here, you can really go anywhere. So I'll stop sharing my screen. And this was our project from 2022. And I know I would now like Noah to talk about the leadership development that the officers have gained through the mural project.
Yeah, so for the mural project, delegation was super important with our chapter team. So in my experience, I would always be because I'm also a student senate. Actually, I was a commissioner in this past year's student senate. So I also have the direct connection with one of the mural committee members. So always like maybe so and so would be asked to do certain tasks, like maybe create a website to spread the word, which we did. I think it was in the middle of last semester, and then sometimes like I would be asked to ask one of the committee members of the mural to like for info or like clarifying different points that would help our project, or which one was the other one? Or we did ask for some data for the article that we were gonna write for the project. And one of the important aspects, I feel like how to say, I think some of the roles that I kind of took without really people asking, but they also appreciate it, was I always took pictures of like the progress of the project. So like I actually have a photo album on the cloud that kind of shows the the progress of the project. And then I think we did we did that. And then yeah, I think there were some challenges because like there was, I think in the middle of the semester we had problems with power outages. So like sometimes like originally the mural project was going to be in March, but then they did have to push it to like April. So that as well. So it kind of sometimes like we had to wait. So like there wasn't really that much like in terms of like, oh, what are the next steps? However, I think we did spread the word as best as possible. However, I think it wasn't how to say, I think due to like the weather, it wasn't as um it wasn't how to say it. Like we had to be flexible with the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were already kind of focusing on communication and cooperative efforts, so that's why I just switched it, because it was perfect
Yeah.
for what you were talking about. And that
Yes.
is something that the flexibility and creativity, that's why that communication loop is so important in case you do run
Yeah.
into obstacles. And chapters out there, you might have great plans, be on your way, and a new opportunity or a new challenge that your administration wants to address, and they put the brakes on your current project and ask you to shift focus. And that can be disappointing, but keep in mind that if the college project is all about that relationship at the center, that's the purpose, then the best outcome is going to be maintaining that relationship. And so if they want to change gears, then that's what you do, right? That's the most important thing. It's not just, oh, we don't have time. It's, what is the most important priority to the administration? Jesse, is there anything else you want to say about communication or collaborators before we go into the next breakout?
When it comes to communication and cooperation, I definitely think that having a communication team is really important to make sure that you're getting those things focused on and not missed, because staying in the loop is probably the most important thing when it comes to college project. I also would recommend, looking through your administration to see if they can connect you with things that you may not already know about, and looking on your campus for things that that you may already have to address the needs of your project. And lastly, just make sure that you're following the rules of your college. Sometimes there's some things you just want to make sure you don't want to miss and accidentally break any rules. And so just being aware of anything that might come up. We met with a facilities director to make sure that we were allowed to do the things we wanted to do. And that's something that we want to make sure we don't forget, because it's very, very important. And it could hinder your project if you do miss that. And also just think about collaborating with a foundation or a social media department on campus, because those are really important. They can help you get a lot of coverage as well as some funding to make your project possible. And so those were kind of my tips and tricks for that category.
That's great. That is perfect. I'm glad you said that about, keep in mind that there are protocols that you need to be following. And, sometimes students will think, oh, we'll just, ask for forgiveness later instead of asking for permission up front. But that can damage your relationship with the administration. And so that is really, really critical. Okay, so we're ready for our next breakout. And what we want you to talk about is developing leadership and collaborators. And, again, it may be that you want to just, maybe focus on one particular project idea just to help you kind of walk through what type of skills that your group would need and how you would find those resources to help you. So again, remember, this is not about just fulfilling leadership roles. It's about preparing to lead. And so you want to do your homework first, and then looking at potential partners. And remember, depending on what your focus area is, it can be even off campus if you're bringing in others to help you plan. And that can be, we've had chapters that will, bring in high school students for a day, to have that leadership program, if you will, for high school students and introduce them to the campus. So that's what we mean. It may not always just be campus collaborators. It can be in the community. So Miriam, will let you set everybody up. We'll do another 10 minutes for this. And once you come back, we will be able to wrap up this college project workshop. We have just a few more slides to share with you, and we'll talk about impact in particular. Okay, we hope that everyone has enjoyed getting to know others. We know it wasn't a whole lot of time, but hopefully you shared some contact information and you can re-engage after this workshop, because there's a lot more Phi Theta Kappa to do, right, for the rest of the year. And Miriam was just talking about the leadership conference is coming up in October. Miriam, do you want to type the date and location in the chat, or say it, whichever?
Absolutely. I'll type it in the chat. That way people who are visual can catch it.
Yes, perfect. So you definitely want to do that. And then I know the Honors in Action workshop is coming up as well. That's virtual. So, okay. So in the interest of time, we won't do a particular talk back on that one. But I did want to just highlight one thing on the slides before moving forward. And that's that, one of the things that we always stress in Phi Theta Kappa is that this is not busy work for you. We really do want you to see participation in your chapter and your chapter's projects as building those transferable skills, and certainly strategic thinking. That's a big one. And, remember how I said you want to show good evidence in your entries of how you implemented, what that planning process was like. And these are all of those great skills that you're going to be working on. And so you can use that when you're writing up your resume, when you're in job interviews, when you're writing up a scholarship application, et cetera. And these are just a handful specifically related to strategic thinking. But that's, sometimes chapters will gloss over how the sausage was made. And so I just want to point that out to you, that is a big part. We also, part of your discussion hopefully was how to get that leadership development. There's lots of resources, of course, on your campus. Competitive Edge is a PTK course, and we hope you take advantage of that. You can log in with your PTK username and password. It's self-paced. We have our own leadership development studies course also online. And then, of course, your regional events like this one and other resources. So, all right. So for this one, we're going to start with Kenyatta this time and the impact. So I will let Autumn, you decide who wants to talk about and share some of y'all's best tips about tracking and really, getting that qualitative and quantitative data.
Thank you, Jennifer. So I'll speak to the videos that we showed. The first was with Catherine, my co-president, who introduced our Steps to Success video. With our project in 2022, we were able to record 10 videos. Both PTK members were participants and found other actors to participate. These videos highlighted a lot of really great resources on our campus, such as the Dream Center, Admissions and Records, VROC, which is our Veterans Resource Center, our ESL programs, residency reclassification, and Steps to Success, which was the video we saw with Catherine. And what's really nice about these videos that we've learned is you have the experience of participating them, so it gives you that sort of background, but it also gives you really nice data to track as well, because you can easily point and say when these videos are on YouTube, oh, 60 some people watch this one, and it gives you some nice numbers to point to, because sometimes that can get a little lost and all the steps that you're taking to the project, and really tracking that impact can be a little bit tough. So we've been really happy to be able to do that more with videos. And I know, we have our completed mural right here. It's really awesome. I hadn't even actually seen the first photo of the planning until getting ready for this presentation, and it's so fantastic to see where we started and where we ended. So Noah, and we also have Mark with us as well. If you two can speak to the impact with the mural project, both for you personally and just we also recorded videos of people's experiences, one just working with the mural, kind of presenting the mural. So if you two can speak to the impact with this project, that would be great.
Yeah, I think personally, I felt like that. I think it really shows, especially like it's located like where a lot of people like walk to class and stuff. So I think a lot of people were really like awed by I think during the painting process, I felt like a lot of the students that walked past were awed by seeing, oh, seems like there's something going on, right? It sparks curiosity. And through that curiosity, we were able to get some student painters on there. Some of them were like, oh, it's their first time. But I also, as a first time painter, I was there as well. So I literally like inspired people to join, because I'm like, well, I'm a first time painter too. Thankfully there was an artist, Francisco Franco. He was so helpful. Like I learned a lot through my interaction and just painting together. He taught me a lot about like, oh, this is like the correct way to do it. Maybe add more of this color, or like all sort of things. And I think getting more even of my own friends to participate in the painting was pretty amazing as well. I would say the overall impact also was on I think on the administrators too. I think they were very impressed with the way that we participated, and we were really dedicated to get this painting up to speed. And so I think one of the things I learned was like, I think with painting, a lot like color selection is like really, you have to be meticulous with it, because if not, like it would turn out different. And then you would be like, I don't think I chose this kind of color. So yeah, I'll give the floor to Mark and see what he has to say.
Yeah, so we felt like we greatly impacted the mural project. Just kind of more like the numbers part of it. I think Noah went over this earlier, but we were able to track like the painters, how many hours each person painted, and we saw that there was like, I think 120 hours in total of students, administrators, faculty contributing to this art project. And then just with PTK students alone, we ended up contributing about 60 hours, so about half in total. And that doesn't include all the students that, you know, we all wrangled in that we knew personally to help out with the project. So it was just really cool that, you know, Beta Zeta Nu was able to put like basically our imprint on the college for hopefully forever, and for all the students to see going forward. But yeah, I think that's what I like most about this project and our impact on Kenyatta College.
That's great. It really is. I mean, this is such a long-term impact, as you said, and not every project will have what you can see accomplish in that short amount of time. It may be that you're planting seeds. And then, you know, Jesse, I was thinking about with the resource fair that, you know, some of that impact, you're not going to, you know everyone and how they were impacted by that, but you can capture some of that data. And I know your chapter did a really good job of getting qualitative as well as quantitative. So do you want to speak to that?
Sure. So when it comes to qualitative and quantitative data, some of the things that we did included like talking to our administration and our collaborators and the students to gather that qualitative and quantitative data. We really asked them like, how did we benefit you? And I think that was probably the most critical part of gathering information. I know I dug up our numbers from our write-up. It was around 22 to 32 students, estheticians and cosmetologists. And we had about a class of nursing students, which is around 20 students. And just being that active participant who was also getting my hair done in the process, I was talking to them while they were cutting my hair. And I was like, so how many students have you guys had? And it was like, they were saying each person had cut around 2 people's hairs, which meant around like 40 haircuts that day. And they actually ended up calling for backup because they realized it was such a great opportunity to just share that resource with just getting those hours in. And that's how I found out that we actually helped the cosmetology estheticians. We knew that they offered free haircuts to programs in our community, but it was the first time that I had realized that we actually helped them in a way because they needed those live hours in order to get their license. And so we were like, wow, we actually helped their program. They said that if we ever wanted, they would be more than happy to collaborate again. For the nursing, I felt like it was just really great training for like, you know, things that they've been learning in the lab, but now they actually get a physical human to like check their vitals on. And another thing we did was just like, when the next day I had been walking back to my office from class, and I was just talking to a student that I had run into, and she goes, hey, did you go to the spa day yesterday? And I was like, what spa day? And then I realized she was referencing our hair and our hand massages and how it made her feel very relaxed, like as if she was having a spa day. And so we included that in our write-up as well. Talking to the our foundation, being like, hey, you guys donated around 600 snacks. There was only about 100 of them left. I thought we were going to have a little bit more, you know, to give to our students after the event, but it was gone by the end of the event. And just giving that feedback to our collaborators and listening to what they said they would be more than happy to sponsor us if we wanted to repeat an event like this again. And things like that was just really helpful when it comes to, okay, what did you do? What are the numbers of it? And then share those numbers to the people you partnered with, as well as collecting information on the people that you impacted was really important when it came to putting that in your write-up and actually kind of looking all collectively of what did you do with this project. And that was all really, really important for me. Mm-hmm.
I love that there were actually impact points that you didn't even realize until you're, you know, going through the project. And that's one of the best things is that you're not only, you know, working with your fellow chapter members and getting to know them better and exercising those leadership skills, but you're making those really important contacts with others on campus and in the community. You know, where else can you work with other college professionals on a project, right? I mean, this is what we really want to emphasize, that again, your college project can be what you make of it. It can be something that's done in a matter of a few short months. I mean, you know, we've already seen Kenyatta College has already pretty much done their college project for the year. But it's also true that, you know, when you're looking at the calendar right now, you've got plenty of time to have a really impactful college project. So I just can't say enough how these two chapters have done such a great job explaining, you know, the incredible impact that a project can have. And I just have a few slides that I want to share, and one of them is about quantifying accomplishments, because sometimes your project, you know, you know the measurable things, that's kind of easy to fill out. But even when you are looking at the responsibilities that your chapter takes on, this is an example of how you can give greater context to your leadership roles. And, you know, instead of just saying that you chaired this committee, you're able to share, you know, how many people were on the committee, you know, tell us the size of your college campus, you know, give that context, because that's giving both a measurable as well as that qualitative data that you need for your entry. And the qualitative impact, you know, getting those comments. I know Jessie shared that great quote from her college president, you know, about the impact of the project. This is one that a chapter did in Alabama, where they worked with some students with special needs, and to work with them on a culinary program that their college offered. And they showed, you know, they gave these quotes, and this is something that you have to plan ahead for, right? You want to have surveys, you want to, you know, think critically about how you're going to track both the measurable and immeasurable, or that qualitative data. But they talk about, you know, in this one, you know, one of the participants, one of the administrators says, you know, I can't tell which students are from Horizons and which ones are PTK members. And that is the point. We all have obstacles to overcome. So even though they felt like they were doing this project on behalf of students that maybe had some special needs, it really did have a phenomenal impact on them as well. And so this is a picture of the photograph that they included in the entry. And we love getting your pictures. You can upload pictures or graphs or tables that relate to your college project in your Hallmark Award entry. And that's, you know, that's some of the pictures that you've seen that these chapters shared is from those entries. So we really do appreciate that. Okay, so a couple quick icebreakers and then we're going to wrap up and concluding remarks. But I want you in this time also to share, is there any muddy point that we just didn't quite cover when it comes to college projects? Put that in the chat and we will definitely take a look at that. So I'll give you a moment to do that. And then you can answer this question, whether you prefer solid plans or you like to be surprised. So first Q&A about college project. Hopefully there wasn't, I think our group did such a great job. Plans. I get it. I hear you, Liz. 1,000,000%. It's so funny. I mean, I think this is indicative. There are some that like, a few that like surprises, but I think we are probably a group of overachievers. And so the idea of planning is super critical. So I totally get that. So it doesn't look like there are any specific questions. So I'm going to do one more. This one I actually was talking to my husband about, and it was so profound. So you might need more time to think about this, so you can, you know, think about it later this weekend. But if you had to choose between being able to see the future or change the past, which one would you choose? Oh, Anton immediately, see the future. Okay. Oh, that's great. That's interesting.
Miss Stanford, I was thinking, you know,
Yes.
back to like surprises and plans.
Uh-huh.
That would be a great way to like thank your collaborators after college project. We wanted, you know, to like surprise them with a thank you, and it
Yeah.
required some planning along the way. We actually made little owl succulents. Our mascot's an owl, so we made the little owl succulents, and we had our students pot them, but we didn't have a budget, so we went to a garden and one of our advisors gardens, and we cut little succulent babies and we gave them to each of our collaborators, and it set a trend in our college where the people who didn't collaborate with us wanted them too. So then when they had a staff development program at our college, they ended up having the exact same owl succulents, and they said they saw our owl succulents and they were inspired. So it created a whole like chain of events that happened. Now every staff member in our college has an owl succulent.
That is awesome. Yes, it's such a great point about thanking your collaborators and all those that helped make the project what it was. So that's great. Yeah, so y'all have got some really great comments too about the see the future or change the past. This is really, really interesting. Okay, all right. So we're gonna wrap up the last one, and you know, for me, lose sleep or skip a meal, 100% skip a meal. Sleep is too important. But I just want to share just really fast. So, you know, as you're getting organized, this is a sample college project timeline. And it honestly is something that it's going to look a little bit different for each chapter. And I'm going to share this PowerPoint. So it's not just the recording, but Miriam, if you want to put the PowerPoint out there too, so that you can, you know, kind of dive into this a little bit deeper. But, you know, you've got plenty of time, but you don't have endless amount of time. And you want to, as I know Jesse and Mark and Noah and Autumn were talking about, you want to have something that is a solid outcome. You don't want to just spin your wheels or not really have a lot to show when it comes to impact for your project. So, you know, right now it can seem like you've got this endless amount of time to get things done, but it goes by super fast. As one of my colleagues says, you know, December is tomorrow. So that's what it feels like, right? And so, you know, use this summer. You've participated in this workshop. Go ahead and get started. You know, have that meeting with your administration. Start talking with collaborators now so that in September and October, you can really be implementing the project. And then by November, you know, when you think about Thanksgiving break and then you come back and it's finals, et cetera, you know, that it's really critical to have everything wrapped up by November so that you can then decide on, okay, who's going to be our main writer for the college project entry. You know, go ahead and identify people that, you know, have those skills, as Jesse was talking about earlier, you know, match the strengths with the roles. And, you know, think about who, even on faculty or alumni, that can help you with being editors and proofreaders. And then the college project entry, which is the same deadline as the Honors in Action project entry, is actually January 17th. And so that's why I put January 10th up here, because it can get busy, things happen, lights go out, someone, you know, has a crisis last minute. It never fails that there will be things that come up on the deadline day. So get it done, set that date in your calendar for the week before so that you've got it done and you can rest easy while everyone else is running around, you know, crazily trying to get it finished. But again, I'll share this PowerPoint with you. My only other point was that, you know, you want to be sure that you're working within your resources. Don't forget, it's not a sign of weakness to ask for help. So we're certainly a resource for you. I know our presenters have shared their email addresses. I think Autumn, did you share yours? I know I saw Jesse put hers in, but this is my email address and phone number. I'm happy to, you know, talk with you more. And if you do have questions that maybe it's just a little more involved, then you could share in an email chat or in a chat then you can certainly contact me. I'm very happy to help talk through and answer any of your questions. Does anybody else? I'll give the final word to our co-presenters, Jesse, Autumn, Noah, Mark. Anything else you'd like to add?
Nothing in particular, but remember to have fun. I think people really make this project successful when they're having a good time.
I saw a question in the chat. Do our advisors submit the entry? There can sometimes be questions about this. And as an advisor, I would love to clear that up. Unless you speak to your advisor and they agree to submit the entry, you are responsible for it. So be sure to have open lines of communication. That is something we as a chapter have worked very hard on. It was hard throughout the pandemic, given the circumstances, but be sure to communicate with your advisor. Do not assume that anyone is going to submit the entry on your behalf.
Absolutely. Well said, Autumn. Thank you. And the advisor certainly would have access to the application, but again, the students are the ones who are writing it. And so this is not just a matter of uploading a document. It's actually copying and pasting each answer. There are 6 questions that you answer for the college project entry. So you're copying and pasting, and you want to leave time, to proofread it after you've done that copying and pasting, because it's very easy to be, to copy something twice or to have something be cut off. And so all of the answer doesn't get in the online application. So make sure that you have, that time to do it. I see a couple other questions. Yes, Miriam is asking about the advisor sets of the team. So the advisor has immediate access to the applications when they open this fall, but you designate a student, and it could be a member, it can be 10 members, however many people that you want to have access to the actual application. And so that is controlled by the advisor, just so that there's not, 15 people overriding each other on the online application. So yes, it's very similar to designating a student as an officer. It's called designating them as a Hallmark delegate, and that's part of your advisor dashboard. Krista asked, where can we find that submission information? Yes, so the ptk.org/hallmarks is where you can find, you'll see a link to Hallmark Award categories, and you can click on those. Right now, we are updating the deadlines on all of those entry questions and judging rubrics, but there's no other changes. But you'll, later this month, you'll see all of those updated documents on the Hallmark Award website. So, and that will, we want you to look at those now, not just later when you're writing up your entries, but you want to be following the rubrics while you're implementing your project. So thank you, Lynette. Thank you guys so much for being here. I hope that we answered all of the questions, but that's why I've got my email up. If we missed one, you can definitely email me and I'll get an answer to you as soon as possible. But thank you again to Jesse, Autumn, Mark, Noah, all of the great Anthony, who already had to leave us, but so appreciate you guys' willingness to share all of your great information and made this workshop so much more effective. So thank you.
Thank you for having us. Have a great weekend.